Who will win the coveted crown overall profit leader this year at WagerTalk? Multiple handicappers are in the running, and we took the current top 3 and packaged them together through the rest of the year for one low price, saving you thousands. Our current leaders are up a combined 287 units of profit so far in 2022. Andrew McInnis is up 154 units, Dave Koken is up 76 units, and Tokyo Brandon is up 57 units. There are over 200 days left in 2022, and a 90-day all access is priced at $7.49 per handicapper. For a limited time, we will toss in the rest of the year for free. Yep, get our current top 3 profit leaders for 259 days for the price of $90, coming out to just $2.89 per handicapper.
What's going on, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. Last episode of Puck Time for the week. Looking forward to a great one, though, with 4 games. Best bets, of course. And, of course, we cannot forget the 6 in 60 segment, the last one of the year. An unbelievable segment where Carmine will give you guys some picks for tomorrow. 6 picks, of course, in 60 seconds. Before we jump into this show, we do have some tragic hockey news to bring up. Of course, the passing of Guy Lafleur, Habs legend. Of course, you guys all know I am a Montreal Canadiens fan, also just a fan of the game. And from what I was able to see and hear, Guy was an unbelievable person as well. So deepest condolences to him, his family, and all his loved ones. It's a real tragic day in the hockey world. But Carm, I know you're sporting his jersey right now. You definitely were able to, watch and kind of live in that era where I'm a little bit younger, but tell us a little bit about your experience with watching him. And I know you kind of have some family that really was a big fan of his as well.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted there, guys. I'm sporting the number 10 jersey. I picked up the jersey when I went to watch the Montreal-Toronto game a couple Saturdays ago because my dad, sort of honor my dad, he was a huge Montreal fan, a huge Guy Lafleur fan. And I know my dad is up there somewhere waiting for Guy with his pack of Rothmans cigarettes. Andrew, you won't remember Rothmans because they were well before your time and probably like a liter of red wine, knowing my dad. But yeah, Lafleur, number 1 pick in the 71 draft and number 1 pick by the Montreal Canadiens, of course, in that draft. 2 Hearts, 1 Conn Smythe, 5 Stanley Cups, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1988. And I think he's number 29 on the all-time scoring list with just under 1,400 points, 1,353. So condolences to the Lafleur family, the big fan base, Montreal fans, and I'm sure you're going to be there for a Montreal game, and I'm sure that they're going to be honoring him. Where we seem to be losing a lot of NHL greats over the last couple of months, with Mike Bossy just recently passing away as well too. But Andrew, we've got a show to do. We've got 4 games tonight. The playoff race in the West, it's starting to thin out, Andrew, but it is starting to become a little more clear. I think I posted last night about this. The Vegas Golden Knights, who are still not in a playoff spot, now control their own destiny after Dallas lost in Calgary. They both actually control their own destinies, but if Vegas wins out their last 4 games, including beating Dallas in regulation time, they need to beat them in regulation time. The Vegas Golden Knights will leapfrog Dallas and make it into the playoffs. But again, they need to take care of their own business, win all 4 games while beating Dallas in regulation time. The first tiebreaker will be regulation wins, and the Vegas Golden Knights hold that tiebreaker at the moment.
Most certainly, and it's one of those time of years where you don't want to be that team in April that has to win every game, that has to beat this team in regulation. You don't want to have yourself in that position. Unfortunately, Vegas has put themselves in that spot. Last night, we did find out, though, that is official. The St. Louis Blues will go head-to-head with the Minnesota Wild in the playoffs. Carm, that is going to be an unbelievable playoff matchup. I look forward to breaking down the playoff matchups, of course, right here on WagerTalk TV. But guys, the 4 games we are breaking down today, we're going to start things off, of course, with Ottawa and Columbus, but we're going through the gauntlet. We're talking Kraken Wild, Avalanche Oilers, and last with Coyotes and the Capitals. The Capitals wrap up their road trip there. Before we jump into this show, Carm, I got to congratulate you, man. 5% winner yesterday, 7-0 overall if we count that future with Calgary to win the division. Congratulations, man. You're probably feeling pretty good on this Friday morning.
Yeah, I'm watching those games, and you, I, and Prez all have our little chat group and stuff. And the Prez was oblivious to the fact that I was on in Minnesota. I also had a smaller play for clients on the total, but Prez is cheering for goals in that game, and he's cheering for any goals in that game. And then you sent him, thank you. I suspected it. You sent him a message just saying, dude, don't say anything in that chat. Carm's on a big play on Minnesota in regulation time. Because when I didn't see another message, I figured you did something. So thanks. Those messages really irk me. But yeah, Minnesota, I was preparing myself to lose that wager. They just made a couple of mistakes. Spurgeon literally giving the puck away and sending a Vancouver guy in all alone on a breakaway that scores. They made a couple of mistakes. I don't think that game should have been as close as it was. The final score indicates that it didn't look like it was close, but we saw some empty net goals at the end there. But Minnesota regulation gets there, plus 3 other NHL plays that came in for my clients. And then I was pretty happy about the Calgary Flames officially clinching the Pacific. And I'm looking forward to going out to dinner at a really nice steakhouse on the Prez because he said the Flames would not make the playoffs. And not only did they make the playoffs, they won the Pacific. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, hopefully we can clip that up. I thought we had a clip about that a while ago, but I don't think I kept it around too long. But yeah, I had to text Prez and say, man, if you're cheering on goals, at least cheer on the goals for the team Carm is cheering for. All right, guys, let's jump into the show. Let's get to our first game, Carm, the Senators and the Blue Jackets here. Obviously, 2 non-playoff teams, 2 teams out here playing for exercise and playing for paychecks, as I like to say here. Ottawa, minus 105, Columbus, minus 115. Totals at 6.5 in this one. And as you know, I think there's plenty more that goes into handicapping, but especially this time of year, this is really important to look at the last 5, 10, 15 game scale. Figure out how teams are playing. You know, what kind of hockey are they playing? Are they locking things down defensively? Are they playing a lot of younger players? What is going on with these teams? And I'll tell you what, the Ottawa Senators are much more of a bet-on team in situations like this than I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are. The problem is we have seen a road trip here with the Ottawa Senators. Started with Seattle, then Vancouver, and now here they are in Columbus. But when I look at this game, I mean, Columbus, the teams they've defeated over their past 10 games, I hate to say it, but Montreal, Detroit, Philadelphia. I mean, if you're talking about the Eastern Conference, those are the teams you want to play, and those are the teams that you should defeat. Whereas Ottawa has been competitive against lots of teams, only a 1-goal loss against Toronto. They defeat Boston. They blow out Detroit. Hey, I know it's only Detroit, but they put up 4 goals on them. They've impressed me more, Carm, and I'm going to keep riding with that. Despite the road trip factor, I just don't really like what I'm seeing from the Columbus Blue Jackets right now, and I feel as if we're getting a good price today on the Senators. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Andrew, I'm going to approach this. I don't want to take a side in this game. I'm going to approach this from a totals point of view. We're seeing the total at 6.5, and we're going to see those 6s and 6.5s a lot over the course of the next 7 to 8 days with teams who aren't in playoffs, and everyone sort of figures it's kind of pond hockey. But if you look at who the expected goalies are, and it's Merzlikins is named and confirmed as the starter. He's At home, he's 14. His numbers at home are much better than his numbers on the road. Almost a half goal better goals against average. He's 3.15 with a 9.08 save percentage at home. 14-9-4, which is a winning record for a losing team. And you look at Ottawa, it's supposed to be Anton Forsberg, and if you look at his numbers, it's the complete opposite. At home, he's 3.18, 909 goals save percentage. On the road, 2.48 goals against average with a 0.923 save percentage, which is very good for a team like Ottawa who play well. And if you want to go one further, he has started 23 games on the road, and the under is 16-5-2 with Anton Forsberg in goal. So I'm not going to go against the numbers. Regardless of the fact that the season is over, you could say that the season was over for the Ottawa Senators a while back, and still his numbers have trended to unders when he's in goal. So that's where I'm going to go here. I'm going to go under 6.5 goals in this one.
Those are great numbers there, Carmine. I think his stats get a little bit slept on because of the team he plays for, like you mentioned. You play for a team like the Ottawa Senators and you have numbers like that or even a little bit higher, and people don't really respect it, but you have to look at it and think, man, look at how poor this team is. Look at how many losses they have on the season. You check out his stats, and it's quite impressive what he's done. So great stuff there. Carmine looking at a total in that game. I'm taking a look at the side here. Our next one we're going to jump into with the Seattle Kraken playing visitor to the Minnesota Wild at home here in Minnesota at the XL Energy Center. And, of course, this Wild team, off that exciting win yesterday that Carmine was a huge fan of, 6-3 for them over the Vancouver Canucks. They are minus 300 tonight, Seattle plus 240. And at a 6.5 total here, guys, Carmine, I'll keep it short and sweet. The way I want to look here is over 6.5. Seattle had a disappointing inaugural season. They're playing lots of prospects, rookies, younger players. They're playing for pride at this point. The Minnesota Wild, as I mentioned, they know who they're playing in the playoffs. They know they're in the playoffs, and they're going to kind of sit pretty. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys sit in this game, but I also know that they're a team that does not want to enter the playoffs on a flat note. So I actually could envision Seattle having a good start to this one. Minnesota still winning the game, probably still convincingly, but I could see something along the lines of 5-3, 5-2 is somewhere of that nature. I think this one will have kind of a sloppy feel to it, especially after a big win last night for the Minnesota Wild. So I saw Seattle battle in their last couple of games, and I have liked what I've seen from them. I respect it. I think this game can get to at least 7 goals. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I can see it. Obviously, I like Minnesota here because they're still in that battle with St. Louis for that number 2 seed. That number 2 seed is important because home ice is going to play a big factor in that St. Louis and Minnesota game. And I think it's more important for Minnesota to have home ice in this series because St. Louis is not only good at home. We're seeing them win on the road as well too. Listen, St. Louis is playing really well, but you want to have home ice against them. It's going to be extremely important. When you look at goaltending here, it was Talbot in goal yesterday. Dean Evason had flip-flopped his goalies the last, I think, 16 games. He rotated them. It was either Talbot and then Fleury and then Talbot and Fleury and so on and so forth, rinse and repeat. But Talbot played back-to-back games, and I'm looking at different sites. No goalies are confirmed. One site shows Fleury, one site shows Talbot, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Talbot right back in goal again tonight in this one. Nothing, again, is confirmed. But I can't make a case for Seattle. I get it. They've won 2 or 3 games in a row. But this is a team that does not play well against very good teams on the road. 17, if you look back throughout the whole season, when they faced any team who right now is sitting in a playoff spot, they are 3-14 against teams straight up who are playoff-bound teams at the moment. So that just goes to show you they don't perform well. It's their first season, and they had a great start. They fizzled out, picked up a little bit during the middle of the season. But at the end of the day, they are your atypical franchise team that struggled in their first season, and we'll see what happens sort of moving forward. So for me, it's Minnesota here. You can take them in regulation to lower that price, and I agree with you on the total.
All right, let's keep this train going here with the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers in a game here where we find Colorado minus 120, Edmonton plus 100, total 6.5 here. And, Carm, we've actually seen Edmonton play some pretty good hockey recently. They've only allowed 2 goals over their last 3 games, and those 3 games were against Dallas, Las Vegas, and Nashville, which is something that's kind of uncharacteristic. If you would have told me that Dallas only scored 2 goals in that last game, I probably would have thought I cashed my under ticket. But a great game there from Edmonton. They won that one 5-2. Colorado, a bit different story. Back-to-back losses for them, the exact same scoreline of 3-2. They're still playing outstanding hockey over, the entire season. But they're 9-2 the last 11 games here, Carm. Rantanen is listed as questionable. Landeskog is out for the game. Eric Johnson is questionable for Friday as well. The question we continue to ask ourselves is, which team does this game matter to the most? I'll tell you what, I don't think Colorado likes losing like that in back-to-back games, especially to a team like Seattle. But at the end of the day, also, I don't know if Edmonton is going to want to, going to be able to deal with a, for lack of better words, pissed off Colorado team. And I don't know if they can continue this defensive, display that they've been up to, allowing just 2 goals in their last couple of games here. So I expect goals in this one here, Carm. I know it's 6.5 here, but I think we could see goals from both teams. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I feel the same way as far as goals go. Like, rest in peace. I think to my Colorado Avalanche bet to win the President's Trophy. I think they kind of shot that away in the losing to the Kraken, and because Florida doesn't seem like they're going to lose another game the way they're playing, unless the Leafs can somehow find a way to surprise them off of getting bombed yesterday in Tampa. But the Oilers are playing well. They're 11-0-1 their last 12 at home at Rogers Place, 7-1-1 in April at overall. This is a team that's playing really well, and we know Colorado. I think maybe their focus is switching to getting ready for the playoffs. You look at Landeskog didn't make the trip. But he's back on the ice. He's skating. He's going to get back into the lineup at some point next week. Kadri returned back. He's on the ice. Taves missed a couple games. He's got some type of an injury that's nothing serious, but they kept him out. And then, as you said, Rantanen missed the last game. They classified it as a non-COVID related issue, a sickness. So who knows? Guy probably had a cold. We're not sure, but with that said, if you look at the first 2 games in this series between these two, they stayed under the total, but the analytical numbers after the post-game analytical numbers were higher than the final score lines, indicating that we either saw some very good goaltending or some bad puck luck, as Brian Leonard would normally say. And with that said, I have to figure at some point that returns to where it should be, which is seeing some goals tonight. The Oilers during this stretch have been scoring goals. They're playing well at home. This line is very low. I actually thought, given the players missing in the lineup for Colorado and the fact that they're even though they're off of a 2-game losing streak, that the Oilers would be a small favorite, and yet it's the other way around. It's Colorado minus 120. I don't want to touch a side here, but I'm going to look at the first period over in this one, Andrew. I think you can take minus 1.5 at about minus 140 and a minus 150, somewhere in and around that number. And I'm going to look for some goals in this one. So I agree with you on the total, but I'm going to look at it a different way and look for some goals in the first period.
Awesome. Well, let's catch both these tickets. The first period, full game. Expect this one to start off with a bang. And it's funny, Carm, because yesterday when I was on the Wager Talk Today show with Prez and Teddy. Prez was kind of asking about some in-game theories that I might have with NHL betting and other sports. And, I always said going with a plan, but at the same time, when the game starts, it's a brand new game. And with teams like Colorado, a lot of times, if you see any Colorado game with very few goals in the second or third period, you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to in-game bet the over. But in this game in particular, I don't think, just like yourself, I'm with you, I agree with you. I don't think this is one of those games where you're going to be able to have that opportunity to get an in-game number. So I agree with you, Carm. I like that play a lot. We'll try and get some goals in this game, and also goals early and often here with the Capitals, with the Avalanche. The next game we were discussing, though, the Washington Capitals in the desert taking on the Arizona Coyotes as they wrap up their road trip. Arizona, they're at home. They're big dogs to everybody. They're plus 315 here at home. Washington minus 410. Total at 6 here in this one. Hey, if you want the puck line, still pretty juicy there. Minus 145 for the Capitals. The puck line the other way for the Coyotes, plus 125. Look, that last game for the Washington Capitals, I had a 5% on Vegas. And I'll tell you what, it was sweatier than I hoped it would be. Ended up being an overtime victory. Washington played well. They had a full effort. I feel like the first period wasn't their best period, but they came out hard in the second. As we've talked about, I mean, they're in a race themselves right now. They've done so well, Carm, over the past 2 weeks that they've put themselves in a certain position that these last couple games are meaningful for them as well. They aren't solidified technically in their position quite yet. So these games do matter for them. However, it is the last game of the road trip. So I actually have a wager on this game, and it is on the Arizona Coyotes in a certain way that I'm going to keep for my best bet at the end of the show. But I want to hear your thoughts on this game, and then we'll hear my thoughts in the best bet later on in the show.
Whoa, Andrew, the Arizona, I'm looking forward to hearing this, what this play is. And I get, listen, throughout the season, there's been some times where teams go into Vegas first and have a big game in Vegas, then finish off the road trip in Arizona and don't fare as well. I think the Leafs went into Vegas, beat the Golden Knights, then went to Arizona the next night, I think it was, and Phil Kessel and the gang beat up on the Leafs. So there have been times, but over the last 35 days, this Arizona team has been a complete fade. They came back from an East Coast trip where they went 4-1, beating Toronto and Boston, I believe. They won 4 of the 5 games. One of them was against Toronto. I do remember that. Then they come home and they haven't been able to do anything since. I think they've gone, 2-15 since that road trip, returning home. 13 of those 15 losses by 2 or more goals. 9 of those losses by 3 or more. 8 of those losses by 4 or more goals. And you guys know I've been taking, until the books caught up, I just kept taking teams playing Arizona in Arizona, minus 1.5, and laying the small juice. Here's 145. I actually feel it should be a lot higher than 145. You have a Washington team that comes off a loss in Vegas, not a win in Vegas, a loss in Vegas. They're battling the Pittsburgh Penguins for that number 3 seed in the Metro. Still, they're 2 points back of the Penguins with a game in hand. I don't think you want to finish 8th overall and face the Florida Panthers. Finishing 3rd in your division will set you up to play either Carolina or the New York Rangers in that first round, and that's probably the better matchup for them. So, with that said, I'm going to take the Washington Capitals tonight. I'm going to look at the puck line, and I'll lay the minus 45 on this 1.5 with them.
All right, Washington Capitals on the puck line. And, it's so true. The books just weren't catching up to that number. And again, I'll reiterate what I've been saying all week here and last week as well. I have said this a lot. I feel like a broken record, but for everybody out there, the games still do mean something despite these teams having a playoff spot already. And with how close the East is, how close that wild card has been with the West, or even the bottom seeds there with the Western Conference, every game matters for different reasons. And, the Washington Capitals, they're trying to get as many wins as they can to hopefully avoid playing that top seed there, coming in as the lower seed in the division. So should be a good one. Look forward to it. And again, I'll have a wager on that game in my best bet in just a few moments. We cannot forget about the 6 and 60 segment, though, with Carmine Bianco. 6 games in 60 seconds, previewing some action for Saturday's NHL card. Unfortunately, Carm, this is the final segment of the season. It has been a great one. Hats off to you for lots of success with the segment. So let's try and close it out with a bang.
Yeah, last week was a winning one, so let's see if we can get one. We're going to obviously shelve the 6 and 60 for the playoffs, along with the sort of the buy and sell feature. But we'll have something for you guys, anyways. We'll figure it out. But as far as the 6 and 60, let's hit the last Saturday with these 6 games. Let's start the clock. All right, Pittsburgh and Detroit. Pens embarrassed the Wings 11-2 last month. Expect the Wings in front of their fans to push back a little bit. I think we're going to see some goals in this one. Let's go over 6. Rangers and Bruins, possible first-round matchup if the Rangers go on to win the Metro. We're going to see the number 1 goalies in net here. Let's go under 5.5. Toronto and Florida. Leafs were bombed in Tampa Bay. They may rest Matthews again as they get him ready for the playoffs. Let's go Florida minus 160 here. LA Kings and Anaheim. Kings are 5 points up on Vegas for that 3rd seed in the Pacific, and they can see the finish line. Kings in regulation time here. Calgary, Vancouver. We may see the backups in goal here because the Flames have clinched the Pacific. Last 2 games were goal fests. Let's go over 6 in this one. And Nashville and Tampa. Tampa winners of 3 of their last 4. They're starting to gear up for a run at a 3rd straight cup. Let's take Tampa in regulation. That's your 6 and 60. Good luck, guys.
Lots of time to spare. Great stuff there. The 6 in 60 segment. Those sound like 6 winners to me, Carm. Best of luck with those plays there. Love that segment. And a great look ahead, too. As you guys know, the odds change. We see lots of movement, especially late in the year. That's why we always say it's better to get a 7-day all-access pass, 30 days, something like that, because the numbers do move. So if you like some of these plays that Carmine just gave out, try and find a way to bet them now or bet them as soon as you can before the numbers move against you. All right, we'll jump into best bets. Before we do that, I just want to remind you about that promo I have going on with Dave Koken and Tokyo Brand. You can get the 3 of us for one great deal for the rest of 2022. I believe you are saving a combined $2,000 on that. You're going to get all 3 of us, all of our plays. We all handicap different sports. We all have different volume. We all handicap a little bit differently. And you can get all 3 of us for one great price. So grab that, guys, over at WagerTalk.com. If you aren't interested in a really long-term, feel free to look at a 3-day pass, guys. This weekend, I'm going to have UFC, NBA, NHL, MLB. It'll be a jam-packed weekend for me over at WagerTalk.com. My best bet, guys, I talked about it. I said it would be in this game. Hold your breath. We are going with the Arizona Coyotes team total over 2.5 goals at a plus 130 price. Look, guys, I'm not betting on them to win this game. I'm betting on them to score 3 goals. I'm betting on this Washington Capitals team to be a little fatigued at the end of their road trip after a big game against Vegas, very tight one, and an Arizona team to kind of show some pride in this one. They have absolutely been getting dominated. You look at what they've done. Last 2 games, they scored 3 goals. Washington, guys, real quick, they've played Vegas, Colorado, Toronto, Boston, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Carolina recently. They've played some tough teams. I expect a letdown here. Give me Arizona. Team total over 2.5 goals. Carm, over to you for your best bet and what you have up for grabs.
All right. 2 plays up in NHL tonight. I am loading a bunch of plays for the weekend. It's going to be a very busy weekend, so the 3-day all access is a good deal. I still have the NHL promo, but it expires at midnight tonight. If you want all plays through the rest of the regular season, which will obviously end next Friday, but right through to the Stanley Cup Finals, you can get it for $169 with the coupon code CARM50, CARM50 at checkout. And again, that expires at midnight tonight. My best bet, I'm going to go back to the last game we talked about. the Washington Capitals and the Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes have just been allowing goals by the bucketful. As I said, 13 of 15 losses in the 17 game span for them have come by 2 or more goals. You got to lay $1.45 on the puck line, but I'm going to do it here. OV and the boys. Let's see if they can light up the Coyotes tonight. Washington -1.5, -145 as your show best bet, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys always there with the comments, with the likes, and I wish you all the best this weekend.
Great stuff, Carm. Wish you a great weekend as well. And thanks to all of our viewers for tuning in and watching. If you're listening on podcasts, please leave us a review. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that thumb, subscribe to our channel. And Carm, there is a way for you and I to both cash in on these wagers. Let's get a 5-3 or 6-3 win here for the Capitals, and we'll both cash in with our power plays. I have the team total for the Coyotes over 2.5 at +130. Carmine with Washington -1.5, -145. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Who will win the coveted crown overall profit leader this year at WagerTalk? Multiple handicappers are in the running, and we took the current top 3 and packaged them together through the rest of the year for one low price, saving you thousands. Our current leaders are up a combined 287 units of profit so far in 2022. Andrew McInnis is up 154 units, Dave Koken is up 76 units, and Tokyo Brandon is up 57 units. There are over 200 days left in 2022, and a 90-day all access is priced at $7.49 per handicapper. For a limited time, we will toss in the rest of the year for free. Yep, get our current top 3 profit leaders for 259 days for the price of $90, coming out to just $2.89 per handicapper.